Oh yeah. Alright, welcome back everybody. Hope you guys liked the opener, because I sure did, because I saw a lot of big round engines getting ready for flight today. It's a beautiful day outside, and again, going to start here in the ME-262 hangar to answer a question from one of you guys. So today's question comes from Robert Moore, and he asks, on the 262, can you do a close-up of the inboard and outboard slats? They appear to be like the A-4. Can they be secured in the up position? And thanks in advance. So absolutely. So if you guys weren't already aware, or you're new to the channel, yes, we do have an ME-262. This is not a 1940s original though. This is a 2002 reproduction. The ME-262 project built about 5 or 7 of these, and they pretty much one-to-one a real ME-262. I think they base it off of one that's labeled White 35 down at Naval Air Station Pensacola, the Naval Air Museum down there. Now, as far as the slats go on ours, you cannot pin them in the up position. The 1940s, the Germans may have been able to do that, but in my searching to hopefully answer that question, I could not find anything definitive whether or not they had that ability to pin the slats up. On this one, on the ground, they're always down. Now, the A4, I believe, because we have a TA4J, I believe you can pin them up, but they are very rarely ever in that position. The F-100 is the same way. They're mechanical slats, and I do not, we keep them pinned up. I don't know if the Air Force made a habit of doing that in normal service, but let's take a closer look to get the other half of this. So we'll start with the inboard. So these are completely mechanical slats. They're not hydraulic powered. They're not even spring loaded. So what you have here are the tracks, and attached on the slat are big roller bearings inside a slot inside the wing. Now, you still get the airflow coming up from the bottom when these are deployed, so you help keep the airflow over the wing, but you still get to change the shape of the wing to improve your lift. For a better explanation of how these are really working as far as aerodynamics, I'm going to leave a link to a video that Jet Jared did, and he did this with the F-100 slats. So link to that will be up here, I believe, and also down in the video description. Now, when you get enough forward airspeed, these will get pushed in, and because the slat tracks are down, they slope downward, so these will, the weight of the slat itself will deploy them. But when you, like I said, when you get enough forward airspeed, they'll just get pushed back into place. They tend to live in one of two states. They almost never go halfway, but they'll either be out or in based on airflow. Now, if you pull, is like with a fighter, whenever you pull a really hard turn, the centrifugal force, because these do have some weight to them, the centrifugal force will overcome the amount of forward airspeed, and these will deploy automatically on their own. So that's a really neat feature that, I mean, that's 1930s technology that carried forward into US aircraft and other aircraft around the world. It's just really neat. So here's the outboard set of slats, and these are outboard of the engine nacelles. And same thing, you just have 4 roller tracks. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. You got 4 roller tracks, and they operate the exact same way. And again, there's no holes in the upper surface here so that you can pin them in place. All right, Robert, I hope that answers your question. Always happy to get stuff like that, and if I could share that with you guys, I always will make a point of doing so. So, yeah, any questions on any of the aircraft that we have here for stuff like that, we got plenty of resources. I can always get answers for stuff. just like this. So, all right. I think I hear the B25 taxiing. I definitely hear a big round motor idling. So hopefully we catch her in flight here very shortly. But we got some cool stuff to see over with the NC8 that I've been fighting with the last couple weeks. All right, over here on the NC8, and we got some new instruments on the instrument panel. I know a lot of you guys got a chuckle out of that water gauge, the water temperature gauge, saying see you later whenever I started this thing. And as one of our guys learned, these gauges are also used in the Humvees, the original Humvees, so they're fairly easy to find. Now, unfortunately, when this was tested, the voltmeter did not work, and in troubleshooting that, a wire was shorted and we burned a fuse out on down here in the fuse panel. But got that squared away, but we're gonna go test this volt gauge real quick and make sure that it's functioning properly before we hook it up. What we also got is a brand new charging system that we can use on all the batteries. This will charge 6 volt and 12 volt batteries. So these ones are getting topped off right now. So I'm really happy we got that now. Alright, so here's the setup here on the test bench. Pardon the clutter, we've been painting safety bars with a nice new coat of gloss red. But got a variable power supply here that I can adjust the output voltage 0 to 30. Got my meter here just to verify that this is working properly. So, getting about 3 volts out. It's also 3 volts there on the gauge. 15 volts indicated. Pretty close. Looks good. All right, so that verifies this. Now we can mess with the gauge. Let me go get a set of jumper leads. So this should start moving. 15 volts, nothing. 20, still nothing. This gauge may be in up. That's not good. Alright, attempt number 2 after we pinned out the gauge. Let's see, 0 volts. Hey, movement. Well, there it is. Alright. Green, we're about 26, 28 volts. It's about where it would normally charge. So 24, right about there in the middle. I'd say that's a good gauge. All right, there's none of the terminals on the back of this thing were marked, so awesome. Now we know how it's supposed to be hooked up. That wasn't very clear because it didn't come in a diagram either. All right, so here's how it's connected here in the back. Positive. We got it going to a known good ground now. It's hooked up. Thank you, Chris, for that. Let's see. Battery. Hey, we got lights. And the voltage is working. And now we know the fuel level too. Beautiful. Gotta hook up the cable drive for the tachometer when we pull the panel off. Now that stayed original. That still works. But nice new shiny gauges. Alright, fire in the hole. Fire in the hole. Let's see it. Alright, now to deal with this. It's just a phenolic plate just to keep this out of there. So 6 negative, I think that's a positive. I'd have to look. This thing is wired specifically. I may have to go get my wire marker and label all these so that I put them back on the right terminals. But this pretty much all this is a voltage sensitive relay. So as long you feed it power, positive and negative, and a ground, and then the signal that comes out of this. And like the manual says, this thing is not supposed to care about the voltage until it hits 36. And for some reason this is triggering at 20. That's not normal. So we gotta figure that out. So, yep, I'm gonna go get my wire marker kit and mark all these so they go back on the right terminals. Be right back. Take my drill out of here. I don't need that right away. So, this is something we gotta be careful of. We don't want to shotgun parts at this thing. Here we go. Alright, now we got it disconnected, everything's marked. Now we can go ahead and get this out. Get that out of the way. Oh, they didn't put screws on the bottom ones. Oh well. Either this has been out before, maybe years ago, or they just only used the top two. There we go. One voltage sensitive relay. I'm just going to put some of these screws back in so we don't lose them. Alright, let's see, is there a diagram on this? DC overvoltage. That's it. There's no schematic on the side, no pinout or nothing. We just got to rely on the manual. Alright, well, let's take this over to the bench and test it. Alright, so we got it hooked up like it is in the NC8. Feeding it power. There's a ground that was on pin 2. And there should be something that happens on 6. And right now, looking at the contacts, 2 and 3 are closed, but not 2 and 6. So I think whenever this triggers, 6 should be a closed, like a switch. So let's give it some power. There's 15 volts. And this thing was triggering at 20, or around 20. There's 20. Haven't heard anything yet.
Tell me this barrel is empty?
There's 28. It has not triggered yet.
Fix back out. No, I got a little bit, but fix back out.
Got nothing. That's still closed, but it didn't change states. That's interesting. Something's not quite right here. We may have to crack this open and take a peek inside. I hope not. Well, interesting. Those are just standoffs I knocked loose. They're off the corners. I don't see nothing burnt in here, do you? There's the relay circuit. All right, so in the manual we found a test procedure for testing that relay specifically. Unfortunately, we ran up against time today. We got to cut it short here. So we'll be able to devote a lot more time to this as well. Let me go show you what Crew Chief Al had been up to with the F-4 before we say goodbye today. All right, so up here at the F-4, Al has been servicing the tail hook damper. And at some point we got to climb up there and do the rudder damper. And so got the hydraulic fluid to the level that it needs to be at. And I think at this point now we just need to hit it with some dry nitrogen and charge it up to where it needs to be charged. So that's going to be fun because we need to get a new nitrogen bottle. So that's what we've been up to with the F-4. Not a huge amount going on. Like I said, I've been focusing mostly on the ground power equipment because we really need that to be workable, and no better time to do it than here in the winter time. So anyway, that's what we got going on this weekend. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll catch you on the next one.